Update. Am I the a-hole for dumping my girlfriend after moving in with her? Original post. I, 25 male, moved in with my girlfriend, 24 female of 4 years, 3 weeks ago. She chose the place, and although her name is on the lease, I paid half of the deposit and paid the first month of rent, as she couldn't afford it. I also paid the first month of bills. She works part-time and has some savings she used to furnish the place according to her taste, despite my objections. I felt she overspent, and the money could have been better spent on other things. She had a few friends over on Monday when I came home. She had ordered food, and as I normally come home from work at 5, she was surprised to see me there an hour earlier. They were a little drunk, and one of her friends made strange comments, which I thought nothing of due to the alcohol as I went to the bathroom to shower. When I came out from the shower, her other friends and sister was quoting me poetry that I had written to my girlfriend, and was quite handsy. I found it odd and asked her where she had heard that. She goes, "We just read your love letters to her before watching a movie." My girlfriend was laughing with them. Her sister made a remark about how she wanted me to do her the way I do her sister, because she had never felt that way. I was furious, but due to her drunkenness, thought it impossible to talk to her. So I just left for my mother's house. On Tuesday, she called me 17 times, but I ignored it. She also sent me many texts, wanting to know why I wasn't home. On Wednesday, I told her in person how hurt I was for her sharing my intimate letters with her friends, and for oversharing what we do in private. She said, "Relax, it was a joke, and nobody got hurt." She said the girls were impressed with me, and that is why they got a little handsy. She said once I gave her the letters, they were hers to share with whom she pleased. So I told her that I am my own person, and can make the decision to not share more of myself with her. Today she came to my mother's apologizing. She wanted me to come back and talk it out with her. I told her no, and that we were through. She wouldn't leave, so I drove to my father's place, where I am now. She kept texting me and telling me that I should be ashamed of myself for leaving her like that. She got her friends and sister to apologize to me, and they told me to quit playing games and go home now that they had apologized. I told them I was home, and that as my name was not on the lease and I wasn't respected as an equal in her home, I no longer wanted to be with her. Luckily for me, I hadn't moved most of my stuff there. She kept phoning and texting, and I blocked her. She then made a mutual friend of ours contact me and tell me that I was being cowardly about it, so I blocked him too. Then his girlfriend texted me and told me not to take things out of proportion. I am almost certain I did the right thing, but maybe I should talk it out with her before cutting all contact? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Nobody got hurt. Odd she said that, after you explicitly said it hurt you. Also, don't love it when people rope their friends into internal relationship disputes. Personally, I wouldn't want to sign up for a life of this, so not the a-hole. Nah, she was just being honest. She just thinks OP is nobody to her. That she called him a B while trying to win him back was the final nail in the coffin. She thought a bloke calling him an emasculating name would shame him into coming back. Boy, did sis read that wrong. OP deserves better than someone who thinks getting your boyfriend groped by your drunk friends is a fun joke. Not the a-hole. Can you imagine what this situation would be viewed as if this was a guy treating a girl this way? She comes home and his friends are drunk. They've gone through her intimate stuff that she's given him. He talks to them about their intimate lives, and they all come up to her and start being handsy with her and telling her how great she is and to sleep with them in the same way. Then later on call her, apologize to her, then tell her she's being too sensitive and a B for not coming back. Yeah, that is quite the scene you just laid out. Totally disgusting, whether you are male or female. It's not just the love letters that I wrote intimate thoughts in that got to me. She shared our sex life too. I thought everyone knew that what happens between two people stays that way. The letters were sent and addressed to her when I was abroad, and it had a lot of info about my family, and I never thought she would share them with people I didn't address them to. Now for the update. After reading a lot of the advice here and talking it out with my family and friends, it seems it's best to not continue my relationship. I haven't contacted her directly, but I went with my brother and my friend while she went to visit her parents on a pre-booked trip. I collected my things and gave my brother the key to give her Friday evening. She wouldn't take it from him, as she wanted me to return it. My brother told her there was zero chance of that happening, Because of the TikTok post she had on her account going into more details about what was in the letters from me, including her mentioning my sister by name and her miscarriages. This forced my sister to tell my mother about it, even though it brought up a lot of trauma for her. At the moment, my sister is not talking to me because she felt I shouldn't have shared that with anyone. I agree. It was a violation on my part, even though I was looking for emotional support from my girlfriend. My ex took down the post in hopes of getting me to meet with her. When she realized that wouldn't happen, she put up another one telling her side of the story. There were several parts, and in it she was looking for the letters to show her followers. But I knew where she kept them and took them while I went to collect my stuff. I burnt all of them. I won't be writing letters to any new romantic partners anytime soon. Her sister has been to my mother's a few times trying to get me to help out with the rent. As according to my ex's reasoning, if I hadn't agreed to pay for the rent, she wouldn't have overspent in setting up her home the way she wanted. Even if she sells the stuff, she won't get the original price for it, so she feels it's my fault for making her lose money. She did contact the landlord, filmed for TikTok viewers while she was on the phone to him, and he denied her breaking the lease without penalties. Now she has to pay the remainder of the month. I asked her for my deposit through my friend while he was on a loudspeaker to her, so I could hear her side without having to speak, knowing full well I wouldn't get my part, but at least he tried. She called him a lot of names, then phoned him back and apologized because she wanted him to tell me to phone her so she could straighten out the misunderstanding and we could get back together. She has now taken down all the posts about me. Don't know if she will upload them again once it dawns on her that we are through. She phoned my brother again to make me speak to her so she could explain, and he met her a few hours ago. He finally gave her the key as she was told either she could take it or we could return it to the landlord. He picked up a call from her an hour after I dropped off the keys. She wanted to talk to me and to forgive her, as she had seen how she made a mistake and that it wouldn't happen again. She wanted me to return the love letters, but my brother told her they were burned. She had to go at him, so my brother cut her off. She phoned back more apologetic and said what she had to do to make me go back. He asked her if she would be okay with me sharing her nudes and clips she has sent me with my male friends. He asked her this without okaying it with me first. She said she wouldn't be okay with it. I guess the double standard has completely turned me off, as she told my brother that if you receive something through a romantic relationship, then it stays between four eyes. It's not that she doesn't understand that what she did is wrong, it's that she expects me to be okay with it, as in her mind, her feelings matter more in a relationship. She also thinks that me being taller and bigger than her shouldn't have felt threatened by her friends or sister, as I was not really in harm's way. He then blocked her as she phoned him several times over and left him crying messages, and then some angry messages to delete her nudes. Her sister left an angry message with a friend that helped me with asking for the deposit, and she threatened him that if I ever leaked her nudes, I wouldn't live to regret it. She told him to pass on the message to me that there is something she's very insecure about sharing about her body, and she doesn't want me to share that without her consent. I'm getting a new number as I can do so with my current payment plan. I'm going forward from this and hoping that I make better decisions in the future. Thank you to all that helped me with good advice. Her double standards and that of her sister are seriously disgusting. You got rid of a cancer in your life, bro. Forward and upward. I honestly get how love letters can be different to nudes, but in this case, they aren't. F the sister for that, and all those hypocrites. Call me crazy, but is it really that hard to understand you shouldn't embarrass your partner for your friend's amusement? His ex is someone who puts her life on TikTok, possibly without realizing it's her worst side. It's unsurprising that she shared personal info for her friend's amusement. So, OP is rightly upset about girlfriend sharing intimate details of their relationship, and then girlfriend decides to post, check notes, multiple times to TikTok about said intimate relationship issues, and is shocked he won't speak to her? Alright then. Let's not forget the sexual harassment of ex-girlfriend's sister groping and asking to hook up. Like, was he supposed to agree and then do her right there? Yeesh. OP's ex could have fixed this with an immediate apology, but no. She kept doubling down. Also, girl, when you go to a lower paying job, you don't spend your savings on frivolous things. Well, in her mind, she had someone else to pay day-to-day expenses. She was going to save up for a few months while he paid rent, I doubt she would have ever paid anything towards it. Dropping down to part-time before moving into your first place is pretty deliberate. I also doubt that the landlord said only one person could be on lease. That's weird, at least where I live. Last story. Update. Am I the a-hole for blocking my ex when she broke up with me? Original post. My 19 male ex-girlfriend, 20 female of 3 years, broke up with me Sunday night over text. She told me that she felt like my lack of ambition was holding her back and she needed to move on with her life because she felt like I didn't value her. When she sent me that, I just sent okay and blocked her and fell asleep shortly after. I did not block her friends and had loads of messages yesterday morning when I woke up. They were asking me to unblock her and talk to her. My sister, 20 female, is also friends with my ex-girlfriend, and she told me that my ex was hurt by my sudden blocking and that she still wanted to talk to me for closure and wanted to make sure I was okay. I told my sister that I was okay and that I didn't want to talk to my ex, but would like it if she could tell her I appreciate her checking on me. My sister was not happy with this and told me that it was a hard decision for my ex, and she just wants to talk to me. I again told her I was fine and that I'd rather not. My sister then told me that I'm acting insanely calm for being broken up with someone I was with for 3 years. I again told her I was fine. She asked me if I cried, and I told her that I didn't, and I just fell asleep listening to music. My sister told me that she's concerned about my lack of emotion and told me that my behavior isn't normal. I told her that I'm not obligated to cry over anything, and I think it's weird that she was acting like I was. My sister once again told me that it wouldn't hurt to have one conversation with my ex because she was still worried about me and wanted to stay friends. I once again told her that I was fine and didn't want to talk to her. She told me that my lack of compassion is psychotic, and that ticked me off, so I just started ignoring her and she eventually left me alone. This morning, when I woke up, my sister sent me a bunch of text messages again, so I just blocked her, and because of this, she went and told our parents that they are upset with me for blocking my ex without communicating first. They said that we've been together long enough and they thought of her as a second daughter. I was just aggravated at this point and told them that I'd appreciate it if they mind their business, but they didn't stop, so I told them I wouldn't hesitate to block them too if they continue, which caused them to stop. They apologized to me and told me that they didn't mean any harm, but just felt like it was a little inconsiderate of me to just block her without talking about it first. But they won't press me to talk to her if I don't want to. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Are you kidding? She says she doesn't want to date you, and that is mad when you cut contact? She can't have it both ways. She dumped you. She chose to end it. She's a huge a-hole for making her inability to deal with her emotions about the breakup your problem. Like, why should you babysit her emotions when she freaking dumped you? Thank you. I don't understand why everyone was making it seem like I was in the wrong when I wasn't even the one who broke up with her. It was a strategic dumping, a wake-up call. Your sister may even have been in on it. And second thoughts make that probably. You were supposed to realize what you were about to lose and get your act together. Then you'd all live happily ever after. Except you, because your significant other would threaten to dump you every time you didn't comply. By accepting it and not following their script, you ruined the narrative and left your ex hanging with no plan B. The closure was code for you begging for a second chance if you agreed to straighten up, and your ex graciously agreeing. Nice body swerve there. Your ex and possibly your sister seem to be playing stupid games, and you were well out of it. Nobody raising the point that she broke up via freaking text? A 3-year relationship. WTF. And then everyone claims the recipient of the text is an a-hole. That is crazy. I have the feeling girlfriend didn't want to break up, but rather have OP up himself to whatever she deems good enough. His sister's reaction is strange as well. Too invested in this drama that isn't one. I'm guessing ex and sister cooked this up to fight for us, or trick him into something. Yep, she's furious she's not getting any validation from OP. No begging, no pleading. Ignoring her is absolutely the best thing OP could do. And yeah, sister absolutely was part of the discussion. OP needs to talk to his parents about that part. That nonsense should not fly. Now for the update. This happened like exactly a week ago, so I apologize for not updating. I genuinely was not thinking about this at a time. Basically, my ex showed up at my parents' house during Easter with my sister. My parents and I weren't even made aware that she was coming. She told us that she only came because she had no other way to communicate with me. She told me that she was extremely hurt by me blocking her right off the bat because it made her feel like I actually didn't care about her at all. She said she thought that I would have loved her enough to try and better myself for her. I was confused by this, to be honest. I told her that she said I was holding her back and she needed to move on. If anyone told me that I was holding them back in life, I probably would have blocked them too. I told her that even if she didn't say that, I still wouldn't have begged her to stay. We kinda talked a little more after that, and then she got my sister to take her back home. When my sister came back, she was mad at me again because she said that I caused my ex to cry, and I'm simply punishing her for caring about me. My parents are mad at my sister though, because they said it was unnecessary for her to do that at their house because it made the atmosphere awkward for everyone. Other than that, I've really just been chilling. I don't think I'ma try and date anybody else soon though, or at least not someone my sister is friends with, because it makes me uncomfortable with how much she's invested in my life. Not the a-hole. She broke up with you. She has no reasonable way to expect that you would continue to follow her around like a lost puppy. Showing up at your parents' house to talk to you after you blocked her is stalker behavior. So she made herself cry when it didn't turn out like she wanted. This girl overplayed her hand. What she thought was that OP would beg her to stay and ask what he could change about himself to improve. Instead, OP was like, "Cool, peace out." Yep, and she deserves exactly what's happened. If there is something that needs to change, you talk like an adult to your partner and see if you can come to a good compromise if you can. Awesome if you can't. It's a shame, but you aren't compatible. OP's ex-girlfriend played stupid game. Won stupid prize. Sister is way out of line for encouraging this kind of behavior and saying OP needs to accommodate this kind of ridiculous behavior. Yeah, you have no reason at all to not block her. If she really broke up with you in an attempt to get you to level up for her, that is absolutely moronic. I wonder which idiotic woman in her life told her that this was a good idea. She 100% did not get that advice from a man, because any man would have told her that that idea was idiotic. We should all be going full no contact after a breakup. Also, why the heck would you try to convince someone who has already decided that they don't want you anymore to stay with you? Who the heck would want to be with a woman who doesn't want to be with them? That sounds like a nightmare relationship. We taking bets on this? Because I want $10 on his sister. Am I the a-hole for ruining a funeral and potentially costing a lot of family members their jobs? Original post. My grandparents passed away recently. I followed the guidelines my grandma set up for her final event. Her church, her burial plot, her casket, and the same for my grandpa. I just didn't expect for it to be a joint funeral. I sent out the notifications to friends of theirs and family after the date was set in stone. Their friends all came, so did most of my grandma's church, but no family showed up. I wasn't surprised. I hadn't seen most of them in about 4 years. I had a great time with my grandparents' friends, and then I went back home and cried my heart out. I had been their sole caregiver, and I didn't know what to do without them. I had taken care of them for 15 years. It started with little things like lifting heavy things and escalated to needing to change the bed twice a night sometimes. I was empty and started to scroll through my grandpa's Facebook to see pictures he posted before his memory went. I found a group, started about 3 years ago, that was being flooded with activity. When I went poking around, I found out it was my mother, who was hosting a funeral at her church and was trying to get final expenses taken care of. I was stunned. Here was the woman I hadn't spoken to since throwing her out of the house for stealing jewelry and upsetting Grandma terribly by using her Alzheimer's against her. How could you forget my birthday? You promised to give me this. I went to the funeral my mother had planned and listened to the pastor, and then my mother got up to talk. She told everyone how hard it was taking care of them, and something inside me roared to life. I don't remember everything I said, but it did include that she didn't pay for anything for them. Not their caskets, not their burial plots, not their cremation. Nothing. I told everyone I put them to rest at the funeral Grandma planned herself 4 days prior. I said she never paid for any of their care, or even seen them for 4 years. I was asked to leave and drove home. Later, a cousin asked me if what I said was true, and when I said it was, and I could provide proof, they explained my mother had been taking funds from the family for years to pay for their care at a facility because they had outlived their insurance policy. They also explained I got a lot of people in trouble because somewhere in my speech I had shouted I had done it all alone for years without any help. A lot of family members used my grandparents as an excuse to get out of work and had invited their co-workers to the funeral. By hearing my outburst, they were now in trouble for lying as for the reasons to leave work or miss days. She then went on to ask me about the inheritance and when would that be passed out. I told her that if anyone had earned the inheritance, it had already been taken care of. I thought I was in the right, but now I'm doubting myself after so many cousins and family members are calling me to tell me I handled it really poorly. Am I the a-hole? Did I handle this badly? Everyone's telling me I did. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Not the a-hole. I'm honestly not entirely sure how you could have handled that better without being ignored. Your family members created these situations for themselves and now must deal with the consequences. I mean, most of it, not all of them came to their actual funerals. You handled everything, both for their care over the last 15 years and in their passing. And that's probably been very hard for you, especially if you don't have any support yourself. I hope you do. Be kinder to yourself. You're grieving and will need some time to heal. None of the family members came to the funeral. Some of them I've excused in my head because of my mom's actions. She sent out messages to everyone that the location had changed due to issues with the size of the location. Grandma had picked out the location for a funeral, the same place she used to teach sewing lessons and run childcare teaching events. She loved that location. It was attached to her church. She didn't care what your question was. She'd answer it and help you solve it. Didn't know how to fix the seam of your jeans? She could help. Didn't know how to stop your baby from crying all night? She'd know. She ran a lot of services for her community that still stands strong today, one of which is the Early Days program at her church. Members sign up to visit new parents, do laundry, vacuum, dust, do dishes, cook a meal, watch the baby if the parents need to sleep. I'm so proud of her for the impact on our community she left. Your grandma was an incredible person. Condolences on your loss of both grandparents. Not the a-hole. You told the truth. The truth exposed your mother's hypocrisy and how she was scamming the family for money. It also exposed the scams of those who were pretending to care. The term for this is poetic justice, and it was overdue. I'm still trying to figure out why they would lie about coming to help and not even bother to pick up the phone to call and check in with them. It makes no sense why they would use that as an excuse to me. What did they have to gain? A free day? They have dozens of other people they could have used, but they fixated on using my grandparents. Because using them made them look good. Oh, I need a day to take my elderly grandparents who have Alzheimer's to the doctors. Makes them look selfless and caring, and most employers would be more willing to overlook those days. Don't for a minute feel bad for those who got in trouble. They all dug their own holes. If they lost their jobs, that's on them for lying, not you for exposing their lies. Stop worrying about the people who didn't care and remember your grandparents and the good they did and the time you had with them. I'm sure they appreciated all that you did for them. Now for the update. Thank you all. I felt I was the a-hole because of how badly I reacted at the memorial service my mother held. It was very far out of character for me. I am usually very quiet and I don't talk too much often, much like my grandpa. I screamed at them. I cried, I waved my arms and made an absolute spectacle of my grief. I feel so embarrassed by how I argued and carried on. Several family members are asking questions and seem genuinely bewildered by the circumstances. This happened on Sunday and it's Friday now. I am still feeling as lost as I did at first. One of my uncles did lose his job. That was confirmed earlier. He had multiple schemes going on at his workplace, with a need for a medical lift bed for grandma, and got his coworkers to donate around $8,000 in total. The gossip queens that attended the funeral told everyone Monday morning, and by Monday afternoon he was in trouble with HR. This wasn't the only way he tried to earn funds. There are at least 2 others I know about from his son. His son, my cousin, is furious with his dad and my mom. He and several other cousins of mine are suing my mother for taking funds from them. They thought they were helping pay for 24-hour care at an assisted living facility. Every month, my mother was collecting between $2,000 and $9,000 from family members. She would lament to them how hard and soul-crushing it was to see such strong people just staring vacantly off into space, how they were unresponsive. But this wasn't true. My cousins apologized for not reaching out to me, but I'm not very close with anyone in my family. Some of you guessed it in the DMs, but yeah, I was an affair baby. I came out wrong, and my mother's husband divorced her over it. The people I was closest to growing up were my grandparents. It's bad enough that some of the cousins forgot I was a family member at all. It's a huge mess. They're apologizing, but I just don't want anything to do with them. Grandpa's business is not worth millions, but it pays the bills. It's a handyman company. My family is asking about the company, how everything is going there, and I'm putting up a stony face. It's not the family business. It's mine. Has been for years. All of the employees respect me because I treat them the same way my grandpa did. I do still mess up some things that they tease me for. It's a very friendly place to work. One of my grandpa's properties is just a fenced yard with covered storage for the different projects. It's right next to the business property, and it's just where we work on remodeling old RVs or turning vans into RVs. We have a few friends parked there too, but it's just a dirt lot with gravel, a fence, and a cover. There are some security cameras there, and so far no issues. I thought I would give an overall update and just thank you all for the support. I felt so lost, and I really did think I was the a-hole for exposing them. Jobs are important and hard to come by out here, and it's not just going to affect them. It's going to affect their partners, their children, and even their pets. I feel most guilty about who else exposing them affected. Thank you. I didn't really expect this to blow up like it did. I'm going to keep reading and responding to comments. Thank you all again. This has been so incredible. I was never supposed to be angry about anything, but seeing all the comments cussing out my family has been more cathartic than I can express. Thank you. I don't think nosy and gossip queens are fair judgments when what they did is alert coworkers that they were all scammed out of a collective $8,000. More than 8K, since OP said that wasn't the only fundraising the uncle did at work. God knows how much he got away with in the end. I think someone will go to jail for that amount of fraud. I would love an update for the legal fallout. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling extended family that my brother was an abusive piece of crap and taking his ex-wife's side in the divorce? My brother was married to Katrina for 8 years. He has a 10-year-old daughter from a one-night stand. Bio mom is not in the picture. Katrina's the only mom my niece, Elise, has ever known. She became a stay-at-home mom when Elise was 2, and they've been inseparable since. She wanted to adopt Elise, and Elise's bio mom wanted the adoption to happen, but her dad refused. When Elise was around 4, my brother started using her to control Katrina. If they'd argue or she wouldn't do what he wanted, he'd either hurt Elise or leave with her for weeks or months at a time, telling her she was never going to see Katrina again. Katrina wasn't able to do anything about it because she didn't have any rights to Elise. Katrina finally filed for divorce last year, and my brother took Elise again. After a few months, CPS got involved, and Elise was removed from his custody. Elise is temporarily staying with me while Katrina fights for custody. She refuses to talk about what happens when her dad takes her, but she's terrified of men, including my husband, wakes up screaming, and she even had to spend some time in an inpatient facility. She's doing intensive outpatient treatment now and is slowly improving. Katrina and I have been in contact, and I've been letting her visit Elise. These visits are usually 4-ish hours at a time, maybe 4 days a week. She makes food for Elise, they lay on a couch and watch her favorite movies. She gets Elise to do some schoolwork. She kind of goes back to being Elise's mom during these visits. Extended family has been asking why Elise is staying with me and not her dad. My brother said it's because he travels a lot for work, but I wasn't going to lie to protect him. So I told the truth, that he is an abusive piece of shit that hurt his daughter to control his wife. Then word spread that Katrina gets to visit as much as she and Elise can handle, while he isn't allowed to see his kid. Now, immediate family, parents, grandparents, brother, are mad at me for airing his dirty laundry, spreading rumors, and taking his sexist side in all of this. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not at all. You're definitely not the a-hole. You did the right thing by protecting Elise and standing up for Katrina. Your brother's actions were abusive, and someone had to speak up. It's great that you're providing a safe space for Elise and allowing her to reconnect with Katrina. Family might be mad, but Elise's safety and well-being come first. Not the a-hole at all, not even a tiny little bit. The best interest of the child always comes first. People should know so the good ones can protect her, and it will also become clear who can't be trusted. It's telling that many family members care more about family reputation than protecting a child. Those people are absolute trash in my opinion. I'm sorry to say OP because I know they're your family. You're a hero for taking care of and standing up for the child. So is her bonus mom. I call her that because she earned the title. That woman is incredible. Someone who uses her goodness against her like that doesn't deserve anything good in life at all. I like how they said sided with ex and not sided with her abused grandchild. Are mad at me for airing his dirty laundry, spreading rumors. If brother didn't want his dirty laundry aired, he shouldn't have created it. CPS removed his child from his custody. He should be ashamed of what he's done. I hope there are legal consequences for him. It's not a rumor when it's true. You're never the a-hole for refusing to lie on someone else's behalf. You're never the a-hole for refusing to protect a piece of garbage. I'm so glad Elise has you in her life. There is a special place in heaven for people who save abused children. And a special place in hell for her brother. Last story. Am I the a-hole for blocking my parents after they pressured me to give up custody of my niece? I, 25 male, have been raising my niece since she was a year old. Her parents, my sister and her boyfriend, went to jail for drug abuse, and I stepped in to take care of her. Over the years, I've grown incredibly close to her. I even adopted her 3 years ago, and she sees me as her dad. Recently, my sister was released from prison and expressed a desire to regain custody of my niece. My parents are supporting her, arguing that my niece belongs with her biological mother. They acknowledge the mistakes my sister made, but believes she deserves a second chance to be a mother. However, I have serious concerns about my sister's ability to provide a stable environment for my niece. She has only been out of prison for a short time, and while she claims to be clean and ready to be a parent again, I'm worried about the potential for relapse and the impact on my niece. My parents have been relentless in their pressure, constantly calling, texting, and showing up at my place to argue this point. They accuse me of being selfish and holding on to my niece out of spite. The stress and conflict became unbearable, and I felt like they were not considering my niece's best interests, just my sister's wishes. In response, I decided to block my parents' numbers and social media accounts to create some space and peace for myself and my niece. Since then, they've been reaching out through mutual friends, accusing me of cutting them off and keeping my niece from her family. They're making me feel guilty for wanting to maintain a stable, loving environment my niece has known for the past 6 years. Am I the a-hole for blocking my parents and refusing to give up custody of my niece? Not the a-hole. If you access daycare/childcare, meet with the top leader and submit in writing that your daughter is not to be picked up by anyone but you. Her grandparents or her mother may attempt to do so. After it is submitted, I chat one-on-one with staff to ensure they have been updated. I admire your tenacity to do the right thing for your niece/daughter. You're writing suggestion you have legal custody, and I hope the status is true. Be sure to not hesitate calling the police, securing a protection order or other strategies should this situation escalate. You read your sister's situation correctly. She's likely on probation or parole. She may be clean, but she now will need to rebuild her life, secure housing, employment, transportation. Life stresses could be the reason she uses. This needs to be her rebuilding her lifetime. Continue to create and protect peace in your home. Best to you. Not the a-hole, but get an attorney. You and your niece need it. If OP has custody and can take extra steps to limit who has access to the child, what is the benefit of an attorney? Retaining fees are quite steep. I'm asking to learn. Having dealt with crazy family members demanding access to my own kids and using other family members to access them and deliver messages to them, the best thing it does is signal to the crazies that you are serious. They think they can keep pushing because you're a family and can't ever tell them no because it's the family code. If you keep saying no, they just tell themselves they're the hero saving the kids from the mean person telling them no. It's amazing how suddenly they stop the BS when an attorney threatens them with legal action. An outside authority told them to cut it out or else. It's very effective and was worth the money to keep the crazies on their best behavior. I second this and contact schools to reiterate who is and is not on the access list. Crazy family has often weaponized police, child services, filed false abuse reports, all to paint the custodial guardian in an abusive light. Cover your assets / Start recording calls, messages, and texts into online vaults. 3. If you're ultra paranoid. Also printed copies, transcripts of voice messages. Document, document, document.
If at a moment's notice you need to file a no-contact order/anti-harassment, you will need printed copies to file with a judge later in court. You can also work with Child Protective Services to oversee your sister earning back partial custody. If you choose to communicate with a pushy family, do it through email only. It creates a valid paper trail, and you can carbon copy CC anyone who needs in on a conversation. If they really want to get nasty, take your sister to court for child support and back pay support. This always is a viable threat when they get super pushy. Your fears are very valid.
Am I the a-hole for telling my stepdaughter to leave the house after she called me a homewrecker? My stepdaughter and I don't have a good relationship. I have been in her life since she was 9. Her father and I started dating 3 months after he filed for divorce. We were colleagues for a short while, about a year before their divorce, but we didn't have any relationship back then. I left the firm just 6 months after we started working together. I didn't even think about him once till we reconnected at a party hosted by one of our colleagues. His ex-wife thinks that we had an affair with me. There's nothing we can do to convince her otherwise. She told her daughter about her suspicions when she was around 13. We had a great relationship till then, and I tried to tell her that her dad didn't cheat. She doesn't believe us. It is just our words against her mother, and the timeline does look a bit suspicious. She withdraws from me, and she has always been distant since then, and sometimes she made some remarks about her father being a cheater, and it was very hard on both of us. It was something we tried to talk about, but it was just our words against her mother's, and she truly believed it. She returned home for a summer break after her freshman year in college. She decided to spend most of the time with her mother, but she does visit us a few times. She visited us 2 days ago, and she was in a remarkably bad mood. She was just stewing in silence and watching something on TV when I asked her to turn the volume down as I was working. She blew up on me. She called me a homewrecker and a gold digger. She accused me of ruining her parents' marriage. I was stunned and shocked, and it hurt me. I knew she didn't like me, but she clearly hated me. I think her calling me a gold digger hurt the most. I am at the stage of my career where I want to switch to something less stressful, but one of the reasons I don't is because we don't want her to be burdened by debt. I love this girl, even if she didn't care about me. I asked her to leave the house and come back when she could be a bit calmer. She left the house, and she's not talking to her father. He tried to talk to her, but she is not speaking to him. I feel incredibly guilty. I should have handled it better. I got too emotional about it. I really can't blame her for believing what her mom told her. If my mom told me something similar about my dad, I would have believed it. I can't blame her mother too. If you believe that your spouse cheated, wouldn't you tell your children at some point? I let her words get to me, and I may hurt my husband's relationship with her. I feel guilty as hell. My husband also thinks that I should have been calmer here and just let her vent a bit before talking to her. Now for the top comments. No else here except for her mom. That poor girl has been poisoned by her mother, but can you blame her? It's her mom telling her that stuff. You can't expect someone, who was 13 at the time of being told, to be a detective to find out if it was the truth. I bet her heart was broken because she loves her dad. But I also don't expect you to put up with it. You're innocent, even if the timeline is suspicious. You shouldn't have to put up with verbal mistreatment from anybody. Maybe you could have handled it better, but you could have handled it a lot worse too. The daughter is still the a-hole regardless of what she believes. She was in Opie's home, where she herself does not live, and disrespected her. If she is so adamant that her mother is telling the truth, then she should see her father outside of Opie's home, or alternatively at least be civil whilst in Opie's home and in Opie's company. No guest should ever disrespect the host in their own home. If they hate the host so much, then they should leave. Yep. At some point, you have to acknowledge that she's an adult and is not even attempting to hear the other side. Her mom may have lit the fire, but daughter is keeping it fueled. Not a-hole. She was incredibly rude to you in your own home, and she's an adult, not a hormonal teen anymore. Your husband should be firm with her, but is probably afraid of losing her altogether. Invite her back now that everyone is calm and show a united front. Tell her the facts of your relationship, that you pay her way, and that you love her. Also tell her that her rudeness won't be tolerated in your house. She might be unhappy, but she can't sit on your settee watching your TV and expect to treat you like dirt. I feel like this is really important for Opie to see. Right now, based upon what Opie wrote, it appears that the ex-wife has lied/slandered. The daughter bought it, and now Opie is stuck with living that lie. But that's not how it works. Just because someone else lies about you doesn't obligate you to maintain the lie or fall into line with the accusation. The accusation is a lie. You don't have to accept it. You can sit the daughter down and flatly deny the lie. In fact, you can call the lie a lie, and you can make it clear that when she's with you, you do not tolerate the lie. You are not a homewrecker and will not accept being treated like one. Repeating her mother's lie is not allowed in your home because it's a lie. This young woman is a victim of her mother's lies about you. The bio mom is the main a-hole here. But those lies do not excuse stepdaughter's behavior towards you in your home. Yes, you could have handled it better, but we are human beings. We're imperfect. Tell her you are sorry for telling her to leave, but that you were upset because you did not have an affair with your husband while he was still with the bio mom. You are not the a-hole. Forgive yourself too. Now for the next story. Would I be the a-hole if I changed my last name from my stepfather's back to my dad's? When I-18 male was 7, my dad died. My parents were together when he died. My mom met my stepfather when I was 9, married him when I was 11. He had a daughter and a nephew he was raising, technically his ex's nephew. Neither of them had his last name, and so after the wedding, they decided he would adopt me and his nephew and all our names would be changed. I didn't want either and said so. They told me it was important for practical reasons, but also it would be nice to have a family name, and that I could see it as having my mom's name if that made it easier. It didn't. When it came time for everything to happen, I spoke out against it in court, and the judge decided to reject the adoption appeal for me, but allowed the name changed. So I ended up with a family name. I always knew I wanted to change it back, and a couple of months ago I moved out and started the process. I had the forms on my kitchen table when my grandparents stopped by. They saw them, told me I needed to tell my mom and stepfather what I'd planned, and that if I didn't, they would. They also told my stepfather's parents, and then I had 6 people tell me, after I told my mom and stepfather, it would be cruel to change my last name back after everything my stepfather had done for me. That considering my stepfather wanted to adopt me still and had asked again and still wanted to when I said no, showed he loved me and was a true dad. They said I could always add my dad's name back to it, but stepfathers should stay. I said no. My grandpa suggested moving my stepfather's name to the middle, but my middle name is my dad's first name, and I wanted to stay, and I don't want a second double name. So that is all out. I told them there are no compromises I would consider. They told me it would be rude to go ahead with it knowing how they feel. Would I be the a-hole if I changed my last name? They're a-holes. Change it back and don't budge on anything. That's your dad, and they had no right taking his name from you. You're not the a-hole. 100% agree. Opie lost his dad, which is incredibly traumatic. Removing dad's last name is like removing him from Opie's life for good. That last name is his only tie to his dad, and it was cruel AF for them to force change his last name. So go ahead, Opie, and change it back to your dad's name if that's what you want. You're old enough to make your own choices. Not the a-hole. You're 18. You've known since you were 11 you wanted your birth dad's name. This should come as no shock to anyone who knows you. Change your name to make you happy. If others don't like it, they can lump it. Not the a-hole. It's insane that they would force you to change your name when your father passed away. It's not like he was a deadbeat or some awful person. I honestly can't believe they forced you to do it when you've been adamantly against it since childhood. Being a step-parent isn't about getting kudos or being called a certain name or anything. I've been raising my stepson without his bio mom in the picture since he was a baby, and he still calls me by my first name and would never pressure him not to. Parenting is a selfless task, and kids shouldn't have to meet some requirements for it. If you want to change your name, then absolutely do it. If your stepdad has an issue with it, then he's a step-parent for the wrong reasons. I'm sorry your family put you through this. They're a-holes, not you. Not the a-hole. I second everything this very okay individual has said. As a stepfather, I can hardly imagine doing what your stepfather did to you 7 years ago. The extreme deficit of empathy it would require to force his name in place of your recently deceased father is mind-blowing. In my opinion, this is obvious emotional mistreatment. I am even further angered to read that a court allowed him to force his change on you. Opie, I can tell you from experience that there is no practical reason why this name change was important or necessary. My two stepsons have their father's last name, and over the years we've been a family. It has made zero practical difference at all. Not once ever. Next story. Am I the a-hole for saying my stepdad isn't a father figure? My stepdad's 45 male and my 17 male relationship was strained since my mom found him. He is more of a real man do this kind of guy. He was in the army, mandatory service, and now acts like a drill sergeant at times, when he was discharged 3 weeks into a service because he illegally got away. Some loophole in the law. And my bio-dad, 50 male, and my mom, 47 female, divorced 15 years ago for my dad's problems. After spending 20 plus years working 8 to 12 hours a day on his computer, he got back pain and had a lot of surgeries. He started working from home and became an alcoholic and had depression for almost a year, and my mom divorced him. Now my dad has been sober for 10 plus years and now works from home since he still has back problems. We are very close, and he ingrained to my head the dangers about alcohol and take care of your back before it gets very bad. My mom found my stepdad around 5 to 6 years ago, and in that time frame, I learned about his double standards and horrible views. My brother, 19 male, lives with us. My stepdad always treated us very differently. My brother got always listened to and respected, even when he stole and lied, while I get labeled a disrespectful brat when I try to correct my mom or my stepdad. My stepdad views men getting abused as being weak and says they deserve it. He also views having a health issue as being lazy. Not going to the army no matter what the reason was is because he is not a man. A day doesn't pass without him giving me crap for my dad's decisions and him not paying for his child support. Long story short, my mom wanted my dad to pay 1,000 euro each for my brother and me each month when he was making 300 euros a month. But outside this, he is a likable-ish guy. To a new person, he gives this chill and likable vibe. He laughs a lot and jokes a lot. When a convo is turning into an argument, he makes jokes to distract everyone from the argument. Yesterday, I went out for a job interview and came back with news that I got a job. By my math, I can move out in 6 months. When I told my mom and stepdad this, they were surprised. My mom was happy, but my stepdad waited 30 minutes and told me that I was a disrespectful brat for not staying longer. 6 months away I will hit 18 and he wants to charge me rent then. He said, "I have been your father for 6 years and you're just gonna leave me?" I responded with, "My dad lives behind the corner, not here." Then he went on for 5 minutes about disrespect and the entire mile. So I just went to my room and called a couple of my friends and ranted about the situation. Some said it wasn't reasonable, and some said I wasn't wrong. So am I the a-hole? Note, I can go on about my stepdad's character for hours on end. He is a pissed off neighbor half of the time, and he is a likable guy other times. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Your dad is present in your life and treats you with common courtesy and respect. Stepdad doesn't. Why would you look up to someone who treats you badly? Stepdad wants Opie to stay home so he can charge him rent. What? Keep that goal of moving out in 6 months. Don't let this a-hole man stop you. Not the a-hole at all. Not the a-hole. Your stepdad went completely out of line. He went on a rant about disrespect even though he was disrespecting you since you met him. Congrats on your job and good luck. Thanks. Not the a-hole. He's only looking at you as a source of money. Why does your mom put up with how he treats you? Or is she happy that you are escaping his BS? My mom has the same views as my dad. She doesn't really like his tantrums, but she usually goes the mile to justify his behavior. Last story is titled, Am I the a-hole for making a derogative comment regarding my cousin's finances in response to her criticizing my moral character? Context. I'm 28 male, a commercial solicitor, and one of the clients my firm represents is a bank. Said bank is embroiled in a scandal involving the financing of a Southeast Asian operation accused of child slavery. The bank's alleged fault lies in their failure to properly vet the operation before financing it. Neither I nor my firm are representing the bank on that matter. Not that that distinction mattered to my cousin Camilla, 29 female. Camilla is a staunch human rights activist, and she has been vehemently critical of the bank. For the record, I'm unequivocally opposed to child slavery. Obviously. But this situation isn't that simple. Firstly, the accusations of child slavery is just that. Accusations. Secondly, Should the accusations proved true, the bank is only culpable if their vetting process is proven to be substandard. This is because it's not reasonable, or even possible, to expect an institution's vetting process to be flawless. The conflict. And that's what I told Camilla when she asked for my opinion on the scandal at the dinner last night. She wasn't pleased with my response, and the discussion quickly devolved into her insulting me with labels such as child slaver by association. But after being accused of selling my soul for blood money for the 18th time, I snapped and retorted, "It's just a job, Camilla. Maybe if you had one, your parents wouldn't have to resort to asking for charity from family." Why I might be the a-hole. The pandemic cost both of Camilla's parents their jobs. The extended family pooled together a donation to help Camilla's family get back on their feet. I myself contributed $1,000 to this fund. But what was Camilla doing while her family struggled? She chose to study full-time while living at home at the ripe old age of 29. Admittedly, she does bartend part-time. Regardless, the topic is a sensitive one, and my bringing it up might have been overly harsh. Why I think my actions are justified? Firstly, Camilla's argument has no ground to stand on. Like I've stated before, neither my firm nor I are representing the bank on this matter. But even if I was, I have exactly zero influence over which clients and cases my firm takes on. And even if I did, everyone is entitled to a legal defense regardless of how egregious the accusations levied against them are. Secondly, how does Camilla have the gall to accuse me of trading my soul for blood money, while simultaneously being more than happy to accept that same blood money when it is convenient for her? Am I the a-hole? Everyone sucks here. To a degree, I think you both are. I don't think you are an a-hole for doing your job. Financial institutions have a tough role in terms of vetting customers, and as an independent party, it's certainly nothing to do with you. I think it wasn't fair of you to make a jab about her family, even though it sounds like there was truth in it. But she also needs to get off her high horse and live in the real world. I don't know if the jab was really an a-hole behavior. I mean, he contributed $1,000 to the fund for cousin's family, which is no small sum, only to have to listen to cousin's diatribe and name-slinging about how he earns said money. Not the a-hole. She chose to pick an argument at the family dinner. You gave her a chance to stop. When she didn't, you shut her down. Everyone sucks here. You both suck and said nasty things to each other. The blood money thing sounds like total BS. And anyway, that kind of dinner party activism is just nonsense. You want to be a staunch human rights activist? Then go do something constructive or disruptive or even arguably destructive. Not yell at your at most tangentially 6 degrees of separation removed from the problem cousin over dinner. But you suck too, OP. Because you attacked her employment status and threw her family's poverty in her face. I would say she sucks more if it matters to you, because she did start it. I don't know. If you're begging for money and someone donates $1,000 to you, I should think there is an obligation to remain civil at least with that person. Especially since the person has no interest in you and wants to be left in peace. Relationship advice. I, 27 male, think it's time to end things with my girlfriend, 22 female, and she thinks it's unfair. We've been together for about 4 years. Since December, our relationship has hit a rough patch. Then around Christmas time, I found out she was talking to another guy behind my back, and when I confronted her, she said it was just a friend and nothing more. She didn't want to show me the messages because she claimed that it wasn't important and that I was being nosy. I found out that she was telling her friends about this new guy, and she told me she had a crush on him. She promised she would stop talking to him and that it didn't mean anything. I forgave her, and we tried to move on from it. As months went by, she started to become more distant and less affectionate towards me. She started deleting pictures of us on her Instagram page and started posting more pictures of herself. She was also asked to go on a date from another guy and told him I'm going through a rough patch with a guy and didn't say I have a boyfriend. I again gave her the benefit of the doubt and forgave her. Last Saturday, she called and said she was going out with her friend for supper. I had my suspicions because when I asked her where she was going to eat, she couldn't give me the name of the restaurant. She didn't message me all night and didn't tell me when she got home. The next morning, I asked her how her night went and which restaurant she went to, and again didn't give me an answer. I then decided to check the Instagram of the guy that she had a crush on, and sure enough, my girlfriend and him were together at a restaurant. When I confronted her about it, she told me she didn't do anything wrong because he's just a friend and it's not a romantic relationship. I told her it was over because she crossed a line and that she lied to me too many times. She said she shouldn't need to decide a friendship and a relationship and begged and pleaded for me to give her another chance. I'm not being unfair. I think my decision is justified and she doesn't want to let go. How should I go about this? Now for the advice. It doesn't matter what she thinks is fair. You don't need her permission to leave. Exactly this. She doesn't get a vote. Relationships are not republics. This right here. Just bounce. There isn't much more to it. It's pretty clear it's more than a friendship. As someone who has been on both ends, people are shady. There's no trust. She lies and she went out with a man she has a crush on behind your back. You're done, so whether she wants to let go or not isn't your problem. Move forward. This, and I would just like to answer Opie's question. How should you go about this? Exactly what you did. You broke up with her. Now move on. Her not letting go is her problem. Fair doesn't enter into it. Her opinion doesn't enter into it. Pack up any for stuff that you might have hanging around, meet up with her, and dump her. This. Tell this girl, bye. You don't want to be with her. You don't have to be with her, even if it wasn't because of the lying and infidelity. The question is, how can you bow out as gracefully as possible? For your sake. Do you live together? Do you have stuff at her place you're particularly attached to? Are there any pets involved? Any joint finances? Can you break up in public or with witnesses present in case she tries any shady stuff? Yep, classic narcissist and classic I messed up but somehow you're at fault, not me attitude. Leave her. Now for the next story. My girlfriend, 24 female, is helping her sister, 20 female, hide that she was cheating, and I, 25 male, can't look at her the same way. Hi Reddit. I don't really know where to begin or how I want to structure this post as I have one huge mess in my head right now. 2 days ago, I was coming back from the cinema with my girlfriend late evening when she got messaged by her sister that she cheated on her boyfriend. I went back home alone and girlfriend went to her sister to console her that night. The next day, she brought her sister to our home, which didn't bother me since I like her visits and she's very good with our dog. So, sometime later, I was talking to my girlfriend, just expressing some interest in that situation. Like, I imagine you must be tired after talking all night. And then I ask, so has your sister told her boyfriend yet? To which my girlfriend replied, oh, he's not gonna find out. So basically, the sister is planning to just tell her boyfriend that she need a break. Temporary break, not a breakup. From their relationship. I think it's an extremely unfair thing to do. If she told her boyfriend she had cheated, he could make the decision to break up and move on. Otherwise, he'll probably be stuck in a limbo and hurt even more. Anyway, I can't understand how my girlfriend can be just okay with that. I'm also not sure how big part she played in her sister making that decision, but I know she supports it. She offered to tell me the story, but I asked her not to. I think it would be disrespectful towards the person cheated on to listen about how they got cheated on, and not tell them about it. Perhaps the reason I'm so disgusted about this is that both my girlfriend and her sister can be very preachy at times, pointing out wrong behaviors in other people, etc. They are both very keen on feminism, ecology, and other similar woke stuff, and I honestly think that's great. But it seems so hypocritical now. We were supposed to go on a Pride Parade this Sunday, but I don't get how you can go and celebrate love and help cover cheating at the same time. If that wasn't enough, I feel like I should tell the sister's boyfriend, and I feel like crap for not having done it yet. On the other hand, I'm working and studying at the same time, and I just don't have enough energy for starting a conflict with my girlfriend's family. I called my girlfriend yesterday and said that I need a break and that I had some doubts for a longer time, which I signaled to her before, but this was the straw that broke the camel's back. I really wanted to be a very short break and I already missed her, but I just feel disgusted about this situation. We were planning to move to another country together pretty soon, so obviously a prolonged break would make it impossible. I don't know what to do. And I will try to schedule a session with a psychologist ASAP. Hopefully that helps. I think you just learned something very important about the person you were dating. I get that there's a loyalty there, but she's participating in this and probably wouldn't think twice about doing the same to you. My thoughts exactly. The flip side is that she's a really lousy liar, and I honestly don't think she would be capable of hiding it if she was the one that cheated. Not that it makes it any better. Like everyone else is saying, this is a huge red flag as to how she feels about cheating and lying to partners. I'm sure it hurts to have had a relationship that you had trust in, only to have that trust yanked out. But it's better to have found this out sooner rather than later. Remember that what you are sad for is not for missing her. You are sad for missing the person you thought she was. That person never existed, so you are never going to get her back. Be strong. You can do it. Right from the get-go, this is bizarre. Her sister confessed that she had just cheated on her significant other, and her response was to go console her? Why does someone who's done something egregiously wrong need consoling? Alarm bells instantly sound. You're absolutely right to be concerned. From the rest of the details, she sees nothing wrong with cheating and nothing wrong with lying to cover cheating. This is not relationship material. In addition to this being enlightening, as other commenters have said, I do need to point out that breaks don't actually solve anything. Healthy couples talk through their problems and work toward solutions together, or break up if a solution can't be reached. The foundation here is already broken. If you have a problem with your girlfriend, your instinct should be to run toward her so you can work through it. Distancing yourself does nothing to help. You've been given a wonderful gift to find this out about your girlfriend's character, especially before you move out of the country with her. It makes it much easier to cut ties now. Next story is titled, My 25 male girlfriend 24 female stole money from me to buy a gift for her brother. My girlfriend and I have been together for 2 years, and that's why it's really disturbing. My girlfriend is currently broke. She hasn't had a job in her field since college and is pretty bad down in debt. I support her by letting her live rent-free and paying for necessities. She currently works at McDonald's to supplement her income. Makes a little more than unemployment. Anyway, it was her brother's birthday. He is turning 16 and she loves him. She wanted to get him a car for his birthday and somehow she did. It wasn't a good car and was probably from the Stone Age, but it worked and it made him happy. Her parents aren't doing well either, so this car also helped them out and they were really grateful. I was there and had got him some shoes as a gift. The car probably costed $3,000, and I was surprised she could afford it, because being stuck under $100,000 of student debt is quite a burden on his shoulders. When we were home, I got a notification from a bank and I saw $1,000 had successfully been paid to a dealership. I was like, wait, what the hell? I immediately confronted her, and she broke down and told me that she did take my card because she couldn't come up with the money and was going to pay me back. I was really pissed and kind of unloaded on her and slept in another room. It's morning now and, well, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. I feel this is a big enough reason to break up with her and take her to small claims court. Am I jumping the gun? Now for the top advice. When this sad stole from me to get a gift, I thought $50 to get a game, not $1,000. How did she even pull that off? The card is in your name, you guys aren't married, you would have had to sign something for payment. Honestly, break up and call the dealership. She stole the money. If they don't help, call the cops. I can't believe she thought she would get away with it. You should break up with her for being that stupid. I have a limit for $1,000 in PayWave. She still has your credit card number. How much more will she steal? Call your bank and have them issue another card and remove the older one. If she took the money from your bank account, have your money moved to another account, preferably at a different bank. Check your credit and make sure she hasn't opened anything in your name. And while you're at it, put a freeze on your credit. If she stole once, she's a thief, and she feels entitled to your hard-earned money. Kick her to the curb, protect yourself, and consider $1,000 as an expensive lesson about dealing with people who refuse to be financially self-sufficient. Personally, I would make a police report so she thinks twice about stealing from her next boyfriend, who is nice enough to take her in and pay her way. First, take the car back to the dealer and ask if you can get a refund. Then break up with your girlfriend, as who knows how much more money of yours she will spend. Yes, if they are decent people and Opie explains about the theft, they may take it back. I think if Opie goes in there and mentions fraud because she used a card that was not hers, they'll have to take it back. Or just go to your bank and tell them you didn't authorize this charge. Yikes. Why even question if you should or shouldn't be dating a thief? What's next? I might question it a teeny bit more if she came to you right after she did it in a "holy cow, what have I done? I'm an awful person" kind of way, but she didn't. After all you've helped her with, free rents and necessities, she steals from you? She could have asked you for help. Be gone, thief. To the streets. Now for the last story. Is modern dating / relationships all hookup / open relationships? I, 37 male, recently rejected a married colleague, 32 female, but I'm getting nothing but grief. Around New Year's, my 11-year plus / nearly 12-year relationship ended when my ex came out as a lesbian. I'm absolutely devastated. And truth be told, still am really hurt. It's led me to realize I'm just not interested in dating / relationships at all at the moment. I just want to work on myself for one, and don't think it's right to get with someone when I know I'm not over someone else. I'll also throw out there I've never been into casual hookups or one-night stands either, even when I was single when I was younger. I'm mono, and prefer intimacy in a committed relationship. So last week we did a raffle at work, and I entered not thinking anything of it. One prize was a weekend in a local luxury hotel. The package consisted of free drinks, a complimentary 3-course meal, etc. And that's the prize I won, which shocked me as I have never won a competition in my life. What I didn't realize was it's for 2 people. When my colleagues on my team asked who I'm taking, I realized what they meant and felt a bit embarrassed. I initially said I might see if someone wants to swap prizes for the champagne or something, which my colleague said would be a shame. So I said I might just sneak my dog in and have a boys' night out, to laughter. One of the women, 32 female on another team on my floor, heard it and made a beeline for me when I was having a cup of tea on my own later. She mentioned the prize and asked whether I had decided yet what I was doing. Now, she only got married last year, so assumed she was asking me if she could have the prizes. So I said, "Oh, do you want these and treat your hubby then?" She wants something like, I was thinking me and you go together and have some fun." I was like floored. I went, "Hang on, you're married, right?" She said, "Yeah, but we're open and let each other have fun with others. So how about it?" Which in all honesty floored me even more, so I made excuses and went back to work. A bit later, I got a text from her and she went, "So you never gave me an answer?" Winky face. I messaged her back saying, "I'm flattered, but no, I'm not into hookups really, and especially not with married women." I was hoping that would be the end of it, but she went, "Why not? He's absolutely fine with it if that's what you're worried about." I just said, "Look, I'm not interested. I'm sure you'll do absolutely fine with someone else who's interested in that sort of thing. Please leave it, yeah?" Which I just got a fine back. Suffice to say, when I left the office and walked past her, she had a face like a smacked butt on her. I was absolutely stunned, annoyed, confused by it all. So later on in the night, I threw it out to my WhatsApp friend group to vent. They couldn't believe it, but didn't think I should have turned it down. The guys were like, "Bro, what's wrong with you? You turned down bedroom fun." Someone said along the lines of, "I don't believe you. I was just trying to say I'm not into non-monogamy, polyamory, or whatever she is. And plus, I'm just not interested when I'm still trying to get over my ex." That was greeted by, "The best way to get over someone else is by getting under someone else." Seriously, who says that these days? My nan? And I also got off a 38 female friend, "Dude, she just wants you to bang her down, not marry her." I was pretty pissed off by this point, so just stopped responding by then. Now, Reddit, I'm really freaking confused. The way my colleague and friends were acting was like I had done something wrong. Like, I feel as if I'm a weirdo. Seriously, is this what modern being single is like? I mean, surely I'm not that old school, right? It's not as if it's just the intimate act. If I wanted to get myself off that badly, I'd use adult materials. Was it that bizarre I refused? The older I get, the more I learn that the way most people talk to each other about intimate acts in public is all a big show. I don't believe the majority of people when they talk about it, and I don't really worry about what they think of my ways. You're not weird. You're normal. They just have to do their song and dance. It seems like half the posts on this sub are about people whose partner lied about some aspect of their private life to seem more interesting, or people who want to start lying for the same reason. Yep, and hookups are overrated. Having intimacy with someone you know and are comfortable with is so much better.
Why would you want to mess up your whole mentality and self-respect to sleep with a married woman for half an hour a couple of times? Is that actually worth for some people? I say you did the right thing. Grab a close friend, get some cigars and whiskey. And what's with people acting like he is in the wrong for rejecting her? Like, is he supposed to be the fault of his body to any woman that throws themselves at him for a free hotel weekend? Your friend sounds like a bunch of sophomore frat boys who haven't grown up yet. I wouldn't go to them for relationship advice. Your coworker should have dropped it after you declined the first time. I guess you dented her ego a bit when she was rejected. Treat her professionally and hopefully she'll find someone else to have fun with and forget all about it. Wonder what else they've said that he's brushed off. Men who talk like that definitely have said worse. It's funny you should say that. We were all tight many years ago before I settled down with my ex, and I probably would have thought that was normal. Now I'm single and we've reconnected. There's so many things they say generally I roll my eyes at and find a bit juvenile. I don't know. Maybe we've all grown apart in that time.